This program is brought to you by First National Bank of Botswana.
How are you, my partner? How are you today? We shall dance in a circle. I'll show you the way. Sing, ta-la-la, la-la-la. Sing, ta-la-la, la-la-la. Sing, ta-la-la.
Welcome to First Issues. We often look at the vast machine of the global economy and wonder what truly drives it. The answer is not the massive corporations or government policy alone. It is the individual entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurship, particularly through the power of SMMEs, is the undisputed key to economic growth and success. SMMEs are the backbone of virtually every economy, often representing over 90% of all businesses worldwide, according to the World Bank. They account for over 50% of employment globally, with some developing economies seeing this figure rise to as high as 70%, as stated by the International Labour Organization, ILO. When a new firm is created, it does not just fill a market need. It initiates a chain reaction of economic activity, including new supply chain demands, local spending, and innovation. You see this principle in action with entrepreneurs like Ontifile Gaokgorwe, the founder of the Beehive Academy in PHATSIMA. Ontifile identified a critical need for inclusive early childhood education. By leveraging her qualifications in business management, child psychology, and special education, she founded an academy that serves children between the ages of 2 to 6 years old, specifically enrolling those who are neurodivergent. In true First Issues fashion, we traveled all the way to PHATSIMA to talk to Ontifile about her experience in the entrepreneurship space. Thank you so much for coming on First Issues and affording us your time. We're here today to talk to you about your entrepreneurial undertaking, which is the Beehive Academy, right? So share with us a brief background into that. How did it happen?
I think I still vividly remember it. Just one day I just decided that I wasn't cut out for the white-collar job. I used to work as an office manager. I worked for 5 years, and then during my 5th year, it was so hard. It's like I was forcing myself to go to work. But during that time, I was waiting for Youth Development Fund response. I had applied for it. Okay, I want funding to open a preschool. I didn't know will it be successful or not, but I just had faith and I did it. And the next year, 2016, that's when the Beehive Academy was founded.
What was your biggest fear going into this, and how did you overcome it? I mean, with everything that is new in our lives, there's that that rooted fright that comes with going into unfamiliar territory.
I didn't know that will my model be accepted, and more especially that I was coming with a different way of doing things, going into business, really inclusive, saying my school will be enrolling even children who are neurodiverse, talking about your autistic child, ADHD, milestone delay disorder. So most of those kids, the parents, most of them prefer keeping them at home because they feel there's still too much stigma. They feel that kids are different and they are not easily accepted in the society.
The opportunities for a more stable income and a more stable environment for yourself could have come from multiple opportunities within the white-collar profession, right? And I know that you have said that you worked within that space and you found that this is really not for me. Did you ever stop to think about and reflect on maybe it was not that the white collar profession is not for me, but rather where I am is the issue?
I honestly don't feel that way. I feel like this is the best decision I've ever made. So when I was growing up, I was bullied a lot. So it made me to be this person who would feel like I really don't want other kids to go through what I went through. So that is why the Beehive is a place where kids are allowed to be who they are, regardless of their background, families they come from, whether they are people labeled abled or disabled.
Well then, do you have any regrets about maybe some things that you could have done better when you were starting out? How maybe you could have approached certain situations?
I am a firm believer that there is no coincidence in life. So everything happens at its right moment and its right time. So I never look into regretting anything or wanting to get things going at my pace. For the longest time, people were always like, why are you not opening another branch? Remember, the Beehive Academy has been in operation for 9 years. And after 9 years, that's when we now have another branch. And I am of the belief that God knows why this was the right time for us to have another branch.
Ontifile Gaokgorwe's story shows that entrepreneurship is not just about profit. It's about productive entrepreneurship, creating value that society needs, bringing to the fore that when entrepreneurs are empowered, an engine of prosperity for all is unleashed. And on that note, we will see you shortly after commercials.
Bitsa motho gore motho a leke mangwala go duela metsi.
Mama, ka mala jana ha o tlhoka le go tsamela kgakala gore go duela metsi. FNB re diretse tiro motho.
Senthe.
Ma kwa go marekisetsong a ile gore ana le tshwao la FNB Cash Plus. Se se tlhokanyela ke o mangwa ga go mo tirisong le reference number e bon dinomoro tse diriswang go ruragatsa dituelo tsa gago.
FNB what?
FNB Cash Plus.
Madonna makante ke ngontso sampolele ka mananeo a FNB ya Cash Plus.
Hela, ha re le nna ke gone go utwang ka dona. Ebile ke ne ke sa dumele.
Deposit cash and coins, withdraw from e-wallet, make cardless cash withdrawals, buy prepaid airtime and electricity, pay bills such as water, electricity and many more.
FNB. Dona. Nyawa ene ke ra sa thare. Mpare motiki. Na ke ra go mothobotho ya la mamarapedi. O tola skontere hela. O bua go semosong wa go duela semosong. Manane wa FNB Cash Plus.
FNB, how can we help you?
Amogelesega mo lenaneong la First Issues. Re mo legatong la bobedi la thulaganyo ya rona le mo go lone re buisanyang le bagwebipotlana ka dikgwetlho tse ba kopanang le tsone mo loetong la bone le gore ba kgonne go phunyeletsa jang. Moeng wa rona ke Masada Deconnik, mogwebipotlana o berekang ka diatla a baakanya dikoloi. Kgwebo e o ikwadisitse ka ngwaga wa 2006 morago ga go bereka mo dikomponing tse di mmalwa tse di baakanyang dikoloi a sena go aloga kwa Botswana College of Engineering and Technology ka setankana sa Auto Electronics. Go bona a na le bitsipa jo bo lekaneng go ka ikemela a le nosi a itshimolola kgwebo ya gagwe e bitswang MTD Auto Electrical. Le fa kgwebo e ena le dingwaganyana e ntse e le teng, dikgwetlho tsone ga se tse di felang. Re na le Masada mo motšhudi kwa kgwebo ya gagwe e leng teng go bua ka dikgwetlho tse le gore o mekamekane le tsone jang.
Sa ntlha tiro e dingalo for motho wa mme go simolola hela ka ke kare ke stigmatization go tswa mo di-customereng go tswa mo communityng gore a mosadi a mme o ka kgona go dira tiro ya borre yaanong go nna dingalo thata ga e le bomme hela gantsi re tle be re tlhakanya le borre e le babereki gore ba kgone go tlhaloganya gore re kgona go dira tiro mme gape ga re setse re diretse customer nngwe tiro e nna ene testimony to batho ba bangwe ko ntle gore mme o le o itse go dira tiro tota hela ka gore economy ya rona ile ko tlase rotlhe ga rena madi gantsi customer re nna re negotiate hela re kopa di-discount ga gongwe mme re dirile tiro e tona e leng gore ga e letle gore go nne le discount sa bobedi ever since economy le yone ya ko tlase batho ka bontsi ba phekile dikoloi mo dijarateng ga ba kgone go di tsisa because ga bana madi a go keneka gore le rona re eme hela ka kwano ba bangwe ya ka le bona mo workshopong gona dikoloi di tsile di baakantswe di tshwanetse di tsamaye ga bana madi a gore ba tla go di golla
jaaka mathata a le mantsi yalo Masada wena o mekamekane le one yang phunyeletso ya gago e bona ga kae
tota le mo nakong ya gompieno re setse re accepta sengwe le sengwe se e leng payment ra hokotsa ditlhwatlhwa thata ga gona gore re ka dira jang ra hokotsa ha customer e kopa discount re heletsa ile gore re mo ha yone discount ya madi a ko tlase yao ga gona gore ka dira jang a ke re ano le rona re batla go thusana le bone tota kana ha motho a sena madi ga ana madi and then ya gore batho ka bontsi gongwe ba kanyatsa tiro ya borre gore e ka dirwa ke motho wa mosadi re thusa tota ke di-customer tsa rona ba re posta mo di-WhatsApp status ba re posta mo di-social media di-interview tse di tshwana le tsone tse di a re thusa le tsone because batho ka bontsi ba kgona go bona re nyame tiro e kgona go dira ke motho wa mosadi
mme gone re lebile tsone dikgwetlho tse e leng gore o kopana le tsone mo loetong le la gago le ha ka bono di itse gona ka go simologong nako e no simolola kgwebo ya gago a o no ka ithopela go nna mogwebi potlana
go bua nnete hela go nna mogwebi potlana go dingalo ga ke dumele gore nke be ke ne ke tsene mo industry-eng ke le mogwebi potlana tota ga ke dumele gore nke be ke ne ke e dirile ka go dikgwetlho tsa rona di dintsi re setse re ele le gone gore kana ga o le mogwebi potlana o na le batho ba o ba hirang gape o tshwanetse gore ko re o ba duele gape ba dire tiro yaanong mme gape ga o re wa leba gape ga o nna hela ko lapeng the rate of unemployment ko godimo thata mo lehatsheng la rona ga o bo gape rona ko lapeng o sa dire sepe ga gona mosola o bolwa ke tlala phetelela go botoka o ntse o tla go itseela thupi la gago o itlhoboge
bonteng ga gore o ikothaela gone gore gongwe o ka bona o sa nna mogwebi potlana a o na le maikotha a mangwe gape a e leng goreng gongwe o dumela gore ha ka bona o dirile dilo dingwe ka tsela nngwe e rileng gongwe o ka bona go le botoka kana a kitse o na le maikotha ao
ke tle ke akanya gore gongwe ha ne ke ka gore la hatshele ke lame ke agile workshop gongwe ha ne ke tsentse mongwe ha ka mo rentisetsa nkebe ke le sure gore ka kgwedi ke receive bokana ke le sure ke sena stress se sentsi ke le khanyela gore be go twe senke ya wa Hive ke tla ke baakanya senke eng se rile ke be ke tla ke se baakanya e se gore ke tsoga phakela le phakela ke tla go dila le marketing go bereka ka diatla gotlhe ke gone hela mme hela re tla reng
se tsrela ha re leng teng ka kopheletsong gone mme keletso ya gago ke go bona MTD's Auto Electrical e le hakae re libile banana ba bangwe mo motseng mo Botswana ba e leng goreng le bona gongwe ba batla go nna bagwebi potlana kana ba batla go gwethiwa go ira sengwe ka matshelo a bone
tota hela nna keletso ya mene le gore re nne le business e ntsi re kgone re hwe di-tendera se sengwe gape se ne ke seletse ka gore ke ba setse re butse di-branch tse dingwe mo mahelong a harologaneng bo Maung dinokeng go Bosikwane Francistown re kgona go hira babereki ba bantsi especially bo mme ba malapeng ba graduateile ga ba hirwe because of your stigmatization tota nkara ba bangwe ke re ba tsoge ba ska ba itlhoboga ba emelele ga bona potlong go ba bitsa gona potlong go ba save mo botshelong ha o sa emelele wa go itirela wena wa leka la go ka bua ka 20 pula ke madi a gago a ba bereketseng ka moso go tla nna botoka e nna 100 pula ba tswelle ba markete ba ile gore ga bana bokgoni ba gore ba ipulele dikgwebo potlana ba go marketa ba supe bokgoni ba bone ha ile gore batho ga ba ba duele tsena o nne apprentice o tsene mo attachmenteng o ska amogela sepe tiro ya gago ya diatla ke yone e tlo go bontsha gore o na le bokgoni ba gore o dire tiro eo. Besides that hela le wena o nna le more experience ka gore wa theogela tseletsatsi.
Masada Deconnik a re go nna mogwebipotlana go ta le dikgwetho tse di sa feleng. Se se botlhokwa ke go tsoga tsatsi le letsatsi o ikiteile sehuba gore o tla tswelela o ntse o iteka segolobogolo mo dinakong tse tsa gompieno tsa lethoko la ditiro. Ka kalo re tla go bona gape moragonyana.
Ta bitsa motho gore motho a leke mangwala go duela metsi.
Mama ka re maledi ana ha o tlhokane le go tsamela kgakala gore go duela metsi. FNB re diretse tiro motlho
Senthe
ma kwa go marekisetsong a ile gore ana le tshwao la FNB Cash Plus. Se se tlhokanyela ke o mang wa gago mo tirisong le reference number e bong dinomoro tse di diriswang go ruragatsa dituelo tsa gago.
FNB what?
FNB Cash Plus.
Madonna makante ke mo ntse samplele ka mananeo ya FNB ya Cash Plus.
Hela ha re le nna ke gone go utlwang ka dona ebile ke ne ke sa dumele.
Deposit cash and coins, withdraw from e-wallet, make cardless cash withdrawals, buy prepaid airtime and electricity, pay bills such as water, electricity and many more.
FNB.
Dona nyawa ene ke ra sa thare mpare motiki na ke ra go motho ya la mamarapedi go tola sekontere hela o bua go semosong wa go duela semosong manane wa FNB Cash Plus.
FNB, how can we help you?
Welcome back to the last segment of First Issues. In the boardroom of modern economics, the greatest threat to a nation's GDP is not just market volatility. It is the erosion of human capital. As non-communicable diseases or NCDs like diabetes and hypertension rise across Botswana, the cost of healthcare and lost productivity is reaching a tipping point.
Yet, an analytical chemist turned entrepreneur, PHATSIMA, believes that the solution is not found in a pharmacy, but rather in the soil.
PHATSIMA, the founder of PHATSIMA Organic, is not your typical entrepreneur. Armed with an MSc in analytical chemistry, she has spent years researching the molecular potential of indigenous plants. Her subject of choice, Moringa oleifera, often called the miracle tree.
When the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted traditional supply chains, PHATSIMA saw a gap in the market for locally produced, scientifically backed nutritional interventions. PHATSIMA Organic was born from this intersection of scientific rigor and indigenous knowledge, transforming this backyard resource into a high-value nutritional supplement.
We sit down with PHATSIMA to find out more about her solution.
PHATSIMA, thank you so much for coming on First Issues. Today we're talking to you about your business endeavor, PHATSIMA Organic, right? You have a background in analytical chemistry, right? So how has that scientific training helped you approach farming or organic farming over somebody who's a traditional farmer?
Thank you so much for that question. Well, actually being an analytical chemist has actually helped me to be able to understand, what it actually means by things to be organic, from the processing, from the farm to the fork, the process that it entails actually, because it makes me understand that there are certain things that you can never have, even in the raw material, even at the farming stage, so that because you understand that the things are going to be passed on eventually to your final product. When you are organic, we don't use synthetic fertilizers. We want to keep things natural because we understand that anything that is made or that is synthetic, therefore it has side effects. So when you are keeping to organic, it means you are keeping things natural. Yes, we avoid pesticides. Some of these things, such as the pesticides, along the way they are carcinogenic. They have cumulative effect in your body. So eventually, somebody is resistant to medicines. Somebody has cancer simply because of what they have ingested. Even in the water that we drink, the entire value chain or the entire process that you need, whether it's watering, it has to be things that are truly organic.
You were talking there about the testing. This means that this is a product that is actually tested for human consumption safety, right? But how do you think we've been doing in terms of encouraging the use of organic foods, maybe even supplements, in the protection of human capital?
Well, there's always, truly speaking, we have always been organic as a nation, as a community, in the sense that, we have never been processing our food. It's only that modernization comes with a lot of things. Sometimes then we forget our real roots. And when you look back, then you realize that, but our parents have actually been organic, They were eating the food that is not processed, musuklane, bohobe, we never had these highly processed food because these foods, to be honest, they are not so good for our bodies over time. So you realize that perhaps we need to change our mindset about our food and really make a teachings to the people to appreciate them, so that we don't run with what is actually out there coming, from other countries to say this is the real deal. Let us embrace what we actually have.
So in the end, PHATSIMA, what other future plans do you have for PHATSIMA Organic? I heard you say that you would be moving into your own establishment out of the incubation center. So outside of that, what other plans do you have in the pipeline?
We truly have a lot of products. I think we have about over 10 products that we are having. We have the teas, we have the powder, we have the skincare products. All these are speaking to machinery. So even though we are moving, we're in a position to make ourselves our own tea bags. We don't have machinery to do all other products. So we are actually looking into growing into that area where we truly have production or manufacturing that entails from skincare to food, to drinks, juices, and all those. So we are looking into doing that, and that is what we actually call growth. Of course, when you look back for the fact that it's been 4 years now, we appreciate the growth, the little steps that we have actually gone through, but there's still a lot we can do.
PHATSIMA Matiruso's work with PHATSIMA Organic is a blueprint for how SMMEs can use innovation to help build a workforce that is resilient enough to carry the weight of Vision 2036. We will see you next time on First Issues. Till then, good night.
This program was proudly brought to you by First National Bank of Botswana.